Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey, who's on here. The big stories we're tracking for you at this very hour. The People's Democratic Party has again postponed the National Executive Council meeting of the party to November the 28th, citing Ondo polls as part of reasons for the party to hold any of its action. Nigeria's GDP growth rate projected to decline to 2.9% from 3.3% following latest report by IMF's published World Economic Outlook. We'll tell you why on the program. And days to the Kano State local government elections, court sacks the chairman of the State Resident Electoral Commission for being an alleged card-carrying member of a political party. Welcome again to the program, your one-stop, of course, I call it the portal to that very conversation around the polity at midday. So right here, we try to track everything that is going on in the polity from late last night up to this morning as we progress into the later part of the day. And a lot has actually happened in the polity. Our first port of call on the program, of course, is the outcome of last night's meeting of an expanded stakeholders of the People's Democratic Party, where it has again rescheduled her National Executive Committee meeting to November the 28th, 2024. The meeting, which was earlier scheduled for tomorrow, October the 24th, was supposed to be the forum to take action and decision on all pending grievances that have affected the fortunes of the party in recent times, including its leadership tussle, where there is apparent division as to whether or not the acting chairman, Umar Dama, are going to remain in acting capacity or be replaced by someone from the North Central region, where the previous chairman, Senator Yochayu, hails from. The party in a communique cites preparations for Ondo polls as part of the reason for their postponement. Last week, the PDP Board of Trustees had advised the party to stick to October date so that every crisis in the party can be resolved ahead of the November Ondo governorship election. Also, that's actually the development as far as the PDP is concerned. So they say, let's just take a break. Everybody just hold your fire. Let's face the elections that are coming up in Ondo State. I'm sure they remember that. The outcome of the election in Edo, so let them put their house in order for Ondo. But there's still, the coast is not totally clear as far as that issue is concerned, although we've spoken to some persons and they say everything is fine. But it's politics. We'll get to see how things play out eventually at the end of the day and how they will progress as far as the issue of the leadership of the party is concerned, and as well as other issues. In the meantime, Bretton Woods Institution, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, has now reduced Nigeria's growth prospects over low crude oil production and severe flooding, among other challenges recently affecting the country's economy. The fund, in its recently published World Economic Outlook, noted that Nigeria's growth prospect for 2024 dropped to 2.9% from 3.3% published in last report. It blamed the downgrade particularly on the effect of the recent inflation, flooding, oil production setbacks. And this is as it projected global economic growth to remain unchanged at 3.2% in 2025. The projection for the global economy represents a decline of 0.1% from the fund's earlier projection in July 2024. In Nigeria, former President Olusegun Obasanjo says regionalism is largely responsible for Nigeria's socioeconomic and political challenges. He was speaking during a meeting with the members of the League of Northern Democrats, led by former Governor of Kano State, Ibrahim Shekarau, who visited him at his presidential library home in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Despite the challenges Nigeria is going through currently, the former president says he's optimistic about a better future only if the right leadership is in place to pilot the affairs of the nation. The former Kano State governor, who is also the convener of the league, raised concern about the current challenges of insecurity, the economy, unemployment, which he explains motivated the formation of the league.
"20 members of the league, led by its chairman and former governor of Kano State, Ibrahim Shekarau, are at former President Olusegun Obasanjo's home in Abeokuta, the Ogun State's capital, to draw from his wealth of experience and to get his support for the league in the face of the current challenges and the need for solutions to the country's problems.
It is about our existence as a nation, one people, regardless of our political labels. We came together with a clear vision to mobilize and enlighten our citizens the need to join hands together, work together, and influence political developments regardless of the political parties.
The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, is not pleased about happenings in the country and points at the fragmented nature of the country from independence as the cause of disunity which has hampered development, just as he advises the League of Northern Democrats to make it a national league instead of a regional group.
At the time of our independence, we are probably the only country, or definitely one of the few countries in Africa, that did not have one leader at independence. We had 3 leaders. So we attained independence almost with 3 countries in one. And that remained part of our problem for a long, long time. And it hasn't completely left us. So when you give the name of your league as Northern League of Democrats, my point would be, oh, how I wish it had been National League of Democrats.
The former president has a recipe for proper leadership, high moral values, high sense of patriotism and responsibility in strategic areas of socio-economic and political spheres.
Nigeria is greater than any of us, or part of Nigeria. And we should see Nigeria in the holistic form that we see. This country can play a very, very significant role in the world affairs. We have tried something near that before. We can still do it.
The league, according to the former governor Ibrahim Shekarau, is non-partisan and is made up of individuals of like minds solely focused on Nigeria's unity, progress and development.
Well, let's head north this time, emphatically, where the Federal High Court in Kano has sacked the chairman and members of the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission from overseeing the upcoming local government elections slated for October the 25th, which is this Saturday. The court ruled that the Kansiek leadership are card-carrying members of the ruling New Nigeria People's Party and do not meet the civil servants or civil service requirement of being at least on grade level 14. This decision, handed down just days before the election, was delivered by Justice Simon Amobode in response to a suit filed by Aminu Tiga, a member of the All Progressives Congress, against Kansiek and other state officials. Justice Amobode also directed law enforcement agencies to ensure compliance with the ruling. It's a tough one because 2 reasons why I use the word tough one, because that particular story I just brought to you to the fore, which has to do with the sacking of Kansiek chairman, that's the State Independent Electoral Commission, the chairman of the State Independent Electoral Commission in Kano State, is because the federal government, you remember the LG autonomy issue, the federal government has told all the states in the federation you have till October to put your house in order. So that's why you see this flurry of elections across states about local government. The credibility of that exercise itself has also been called to question. So everybody's racing against time so that they don't fall short of the expectations as far as the federal government is concerned, because afterwards, you're on your own. And now this has happened just days before the election in Kano State. And for the record, Kano is the biggest in terms of number of local governments in Nigeria, 44. So that's why this is an important conversation. So what happens next as far as this is concerned? Because the court has said the members of KANSEC, which is the State Independent Electoral Commission, are all members of the NNPP. And secondly, some of them do not qualify as far as civil service rules are concerned. So we're being joined in the program by the NNPP National Legal Advisor, Mr. Robert Horn. He joins us from Makurdi, the Benue State capital. Thank you so much, Mr. Horn, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Nigerians.
I would like to get your quick impression on the outcome of this judgment before we go further. I'm sure you've seen this, and what is the NNPP doing at the moment about this?
Well, I must tell you that that judgment is an assault on democracy. The judgment was delivered without jurisdiction. Federal High Court has no jurisdiction whatsoever to interfere in the affairs of Kano State Independent Electoral Commission. It has no jurisdiction. It's unfortunate that the Federal High Court knowingly, willfully, but unlawfully descended to do what I will tell you, a hatchet job. It is not in doubt. It is very, very clear, abundantly clear, that the Federal High Court has a limited jurisdiction as encapsulated in Section 251 of the Constitution. The Constitution itself clearly spells out the functions, the duties, the powers of the three tiers of government. We have the exclusive legislative list, we have the concurrent, and we have the residual. Conduct of election, local government election, is not under the concurrent list, it's not under the exclusive list, and it's not contemplated in Section 251 of the Constitution, which has donated jurisdictional powers to Federal High Court. So, for my Lord Justice Amubida to unlawfully assume jurisdiction and carry out a judicial coup against democracy in Kano State is worrisome. It's a grave assault on democracy. And we should be worried. Now so it is Kano. Yesterday it was Rivers. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. Yes, I'm listening.
Yeah, I know that Section, I think 7 had to guarantee the fact that there should be democratically elected local government officials, and the state are supposed to make sure that happens. The Section 197 also talks about these bodies of the State Electoral Commission and all of that. And so, what in your thinking would have informed the approach of the gentleman and the All Progressives Congress to the Federal High Court if indeed the Federal High Court has no jurisdiction? And if the Federal High Court has no jurisdiction over state issues like this, why did the judge give a ruling on this particular issue? Because according to our laws, no matter how you agree or disagree about a law, as long as it's decided by a court, you have to set it aside.
Yeah, on that plank, we're already approaching the Court of Appeal, and we believe that the Court of Appeal will see that justice is done. You see, The issue of jurisdiction is a threshold issue. No matter how well conducted, no matter how well intentioned, if you do not have jurisdiction delegated by the Constitution or the extant laws that create that court, it amounts to a nullity. So what I'm saying is that the judgment delivered yesterday, is a nullity. It is commonplace. It is trite. Even a lawyer who has just been called to bar, or even a lawyer in the law school, will tell you that Federal High Court has no jurisdiction.
All right, Mr. Hon, I know. My apologies. Thank God you're a lawyer, so you can't. It's not television. We can decide whether it's nullity or not, whether it was rightly done or not. So I'm asking for what action has been taken. This is the window you have today, tomorrow, Friday, and the election is supposed to hold on Saturday. So have you filed a case? Have you filed a stay of execution? Okay. Is the appeal court going to hear? What exactly is the judicial process that is ongoing right now?
The judicial process ongoing now is as a law-abiding party and as a law-abiding citizens of Kano State, we have approached the Court of Appeal. And I told you earlier that we have confidence that the Court of Appeal will see that democracy prevails. The whim and caprice of an individual group of people or the interest of a few, which is anathemical to the democratic growth and development of Nigeria, cannot be strangulated.
All right.
And we believe wholly that Court of Appeal will do justice to that.
All right, Mr. Hon.
So we are not we are not taking laws into our hands. We are abiding by the law. We have been provoked, no doubt, but we are maintaining our cool, and we approach the Court of Appeal, and we surely shall get justice.
Okay. I took my time to dwell on issues around jurisdiction because we've seen this happen in different places, including places like River State, where courts assume or they do what they call, what you guys call, I mean, lawyers now call jurisdictional overreach. And we've even seen judicial reprimand to that effect, even at the appellate court. So that's on one hand. But without trying to preempt the court, because an order, a ruling has come out, so maybe we'll speak authoritatively on it. The merit of the issue here is that two things. One, that the members, the chairman and members of the KANSEC, Kano State Independent Electoral Commission, are card-carrying members of the NNPP, one. Two, that there are some of them, or perhaps all of them, and have not even attained the civil service level to be able to serve in certain capacity they serve. So maybe you provide that clarification. Is the KANSEC chairman a member of the NNPP?
That is not true. And you see, that needs to be done via evidence. You see, what happened in Kano, the judgment there was delivered via an originating motion, which is interpretation of the laws. It's affidavit evidence. It is not a trial. What I expect, even assuming without considering that Federal Court has jurisdiction, we would have still asked them to come by way of writ of summons, which they will not call evidence to testify. The alleged people, the people who are alleged to have contravened the laws, who say to be members of NNPP, would have been given the opportunity of fair trial and fair hearing. That was not done. The decision was taken by affidavit evidence, which is not in tandem with the hallowed principles of the pattern. That is, let's hear from the other side. Fair hearing, equity, and fair play was not carried out, assuming without considering that the Federal Court decision that ought to have been taken by originating summons and not originating motion, not by affidavit evidence. So that's one. So you cannot say just by documents and without hearing from the people, without taking evidence, to conclude and presume that they are members of NNPP and they have not attained the level in the civil service to have got to that level. Let me tell you, private persons can even be appointed. What is the law? As they look at the qualification of who should be the chairman and who should be the members of Kano State Independent Electoral Commission, it's a matter of law. And because it's a matter of law, you have to take evidence. Two, just by interpreting the law, you also call these people to ascertain from them whether or not they are actually contravening this law. I think all of that was not done. The issue of membership of NNPP, well, cannot be determined by affidavit evidence. The issue of not being qualified to be a member or official of Kano State Independent Electoral Commission cannot be determined by affidavit evidence. You need to call witnesses to testify. You need to hear from those people. You need to give them the opportunity to also defend themselves. That was not done.
All right, so
it's as good as the judge it's as good as the judge sitting down in his chambers, looking at the documents that were presented before him and making a judgment that has castigated the individuals and also truncated democracy.
Well, Mr. Hon, I don't have the APC or the gentleman and the APC who took them to court to know how this was done, because I'm surprised that this came as an originating someone instead of written someone, because I know that I had read one interlocutory appeal that had to do with how this is interpreted in law, especially if it has to do with things like this at the end of the day, that maybe parties were not calling. But I'm not just going to take your word, because I'm going to, let me put it this way. That is your position. We've not heard from the other side. But going forward, what action is the NNPP going to take besides going to court? If the appeal court doesn't sit perhaps before are they going to postpone the election? Are they going to hold the election in spite of? What exactly is the next line of action?
Well, sitting here with you in the studio alone,
I can hear you. Go ahead.
I cannot tell you precisely the final decision of the national leaders of NNPP in Kano State, or NNPP at large. That's one. Two, mind you, that if you are hammering on NNPP, the interest of over millions of people in Kano is at stake here. It's not just about NNPP. So it's all about Kano State. And let me tell you, what he has done is, like I said, is an assault to democracy. Because what my Lord, the Justice Amobida has done is an assault on democracy. It is truncating the interest of millions of people who are ready to exercise their franchise, constitutional given rights or donated rights on the 26th of October 2024. That is temporary. So for us, the judgment was delivered yesterday. We have approached the Court of Appeal. We also consider other alternatives on the way forward. Therefore, now, the decision we have taken proactively is to approach the court as a law-abiding citizen, as a law-abiding political party. We are going to court.
All right, Mr. Hon, this is apparently a developing story, because the elections are supposed to be on Saturday. You have till the end of October to make sure elections are held in Kano State. So that something has to be done as quickly as possible. And this issue you raised about originating and writ of someone also has to be probed. But maybe we are going to call the other party to know exactly what the position of things, how it played out in court that made them end this ruling. But we must thank you so much, Robert Hon, the National Legal Advisor of the New Nigeria People's Party. Thank you so much for coming on the program, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
All right, so let's bring you some breaking news we're tracking at the moment. The federal government has dropped all charges against the executive at Binance Holdings, Tigran Gambarian, on held grounds. Mr. Gambarian has been facing money laundering trial from detention since April. The Council for the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission announced the withdrawal of the charges at the Federal High Court, Abuja, before Justice Emeka Nwite. The hearing coming 2 days before the October the 25th, earlier scheduled as return date by the trial judge on the open court last Friday. Announcing the withdrawal of the charges, the lawyer said Mr. Gambarian, a United States citizen, was merely an employee of Binance whose activities he was being prosecuted for. Counsel to Mr. Gambarian, Mr. Mark Modi, agreed with the prosecution, saying his client was not involved in the company's broader financial decisions. The trial judge, Justice Emeka Nwite, had rejected the second bail application on October the 11th, ruling that Mr. Gambarian's grounds of ill health were not sufficient to release him from detention. The judge then fixed October the 18th for continuation of trial, but Mr. Gambarian was absent on health grounds, according to the prison. The judge then rescheduled for October the 25th for trial, which appears to have now been overtaken by event of today's public hearing, or the hearing that was supposed to hold that held today. So that is the latest coming from the issue around Binance. But we'll also tell you that a member representing Aba North and South Federal Constituency, Alex Mascot, is appealing to President Bola Tinubu to release the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kano, in order to bring an end to the sit-at-home situation in the Southeast region. Speaking during an interview with journalists after meeting with Governor Alex Soti in Abia State, Mr. Mascot bemoans the alleged marginalization of the Southeast region and criticized troublemakers for taking advantage of the incarceration of Nnamdi Kano to inflict pain and hardship on indigents of the Southeast.
To Nnamdi Kano, the idea still remains. Another person will begin to spearhead that idea. But if the President of the Republic will understand that the Southeast is clearly being marginalized and find ways to allow for that promise that was made after the war, that no victor, no vanquish, and that the Southeast will be reconstructed, will be rehabilitated. By the time the government of the day identifies that this is a problem, and remember, it's not just Nnamdi Kano, it's not just the Southeast that is agitating for a secession. You also have Sunday Igboho, who recently just handed over a document to the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom at number 10 Randall Road. Why is anybody not saying anything about Sunday Igboho? So it's as if our own people receive a separate kind of treatment. So the Nnamdi Kano issue, I believe the President and those that advise him should resolve it expressly. Nnamdi Kano has not broken any law. Nnamdi Kano is only advocating for a better life for his people. And we are also advocating for a better life for our people. We want the entire country to remain as one. I personally want the entire country to remain as one. Sit at home has cost us, cost the economy of this place. You will agree with me that the Southeast literally controls the economy of the state based on the fact that most of them are into trading. So it is important that the President solves this problem holistically.
That's it on the program. Thank you so much, of course, for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Ozama. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics.